Hey, good morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday, July 21st. Month's coming to an end here. Month is coming to an end. Hope you're doing well. Let me know in the comments below how you're doing. If you're having an awesome day today, which I hope you are. I hope you're having a great day. We got some exciting news. We got a lot to talk about today, actually, but let me get a few things set up. If you're probably wondering, Nathan, where were you yesterday? We had no news from you yesterday. Where were you? What happened to you, man? Well, in case you're wondering, I was out and there was no co-host. And by the way, if you are actually, I did want to get this going on here today. By the way, if you know anyone who's looking for a full-time job with amazing benefits, and what amazing benefits, like you get to work whenever you want, you get free healthcare, you get six-figure salary. Yeah, let me know. Come join our news station and we'll get you a job. That way we can co-host together. I'm kidding. I'm looking for a co-host. Anyone who's I thought of that this morning, I was like, I couldn't go live yesterday because there's just a lot going on, and there's a lot going on even in the industry. And I was just talking to a good buddy of mine here at my co-working space, my hive, as I like to call it, my hive. And there's just a lot going on, Hey, Cindy, good morning. Good morning. Good to see you. Like your profile pic. Looking, what do they call it now? Fleek? On point? Is that the right word? Good morning. Good morning. There's so much going on. I got so much news to share. I don't know if I'm going to be able to break it down to you in 30 minutes or less, but I'll do my best to do that and share some exciting news. I think we got the stimulus check coming. I'm going to share with you that information in just a little bit, but I want to tell you this. Remember last week, I don't know how many days ago now. Remember last week I was sharing with you how in the real estate sector, we have e-notarizations happening. Well, literally, I believe it was on Friday, let's call it Good Friday. Good Friday, Rocket Mortgage, Quicken, it was actually Quicken and Amaral, okay? They completed the first online notarization in North Carolina. It happened for a mortgage, okay? Rocket, if you're familiar with Rocket Mortgage, who they are able to process, I believe, in all 50 states. They did their first online notarization. Now, guys, you've heard me talk about online notarizations before. If you haven't, you can get over to my YouTube channel and check out. Go to YouTube, type in Fearless Millionaire, and you can look up my breakdown about how I use notarize.com. So you can check that out. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel, because when you subscribe to the YouTube channel, it lets Donald Trump know that you care about the United States. I found that out recently. So it matters. It matters. The other thing is, so going back to this, what this bill that passed, it's huge. They actually call it the Emergency Video Notarization Bill. I mean, what a great title. I mean, really, what a great title. That's exactly what we need. So this guy, Jamie, he's one of the vice presidents, partner and developer over there. He was the guy helping Brady and Kravosky, helping close the loan. Kravosky had this to say. This is what he said. Finally, I feel like we're all on the same page. And the Secretary Marshal actually gave us no resistance whatsoever, right? This is fantastic, because she felt that this is what North Carolina needs right now. And it was getting dangerous, but we were able to do it. I don't know what he means by getting dangerous. I don't know how much danger you could have with e-notarizations, but it was getting dangerous. But they were able to do it, and it worked out great. It was seamless. Guys, this is breaking news. Why? Because if a big company like Quicken and Rocket Mortgage can get this done, do you know what this means for the planet? I'm just thinking about that, for the planet. Well, at least in the United States for now. This means we can just click buttons and we don't have to scribble our names anymore on 30 documents, 25 pages, 80 pages. It just streamlines the process. That's how I see the future. So I feel like when I hear news like this, I feel like the future is just within reach. It's long overdue. You've heard me say this before. This is long overdue. This is 2020. This is breaking news for 2000. Okay? I feel like we're 20 years past due. I mean, we should be able to sign mortgages on our phones by now. Let's go, people. Hurry it up. But hey, this is good news. I'm happy for it. If you're happy for it too, think about this for yourself. Imagine get a notarization done and signing for a mortgage, buying a house all on your phone. Your iPhone particularly. Speaking of iPhones. We have a new iPhone coming out. I've been tinkering around with the iOS 14, the new update for iOS 14. It's phenomenal. Okay, most people are like, widgets. Do we really need widgets? Yes, we need widgets on our phones. It's great. Apple stock today, my prediction, Apple stock to hit 400. We're already at 393 in Apple stocks. That's a stock that's very predictable. It's a company that's very predictable, by the way, because every few months they have a conference. Every twice a year they have the WW World Developer Conference, DC. Then they have a product, multiple products a year. Strong. I'm going to talk about Apple because we just got Apple products everywhere. I'm waiting for my Apple glasses. Do you think there's actually, between me and my buddies, we have this little verbal competition going on. Do you think there will be Apple glasses this September? I know I'll replace my lenses, but do you think, yes or no, put them in the comments below. Do you think there will be Apple glasses in September? Great to hear. Apple stock shooting through the roof. I've been playing around with iOS 14 and it's phenomenal. I'll tell you right now, it's so great. It really is. Now, I wanted to transition into a little bit about the stimulus because I know a lot of people are waiting for it. We've been talking about it, but in the meantime, there's a lot of unique stuff that's going on when it comes to COVID and what's happening in the marketplace, jobs and people losing their jobs and job creation, right? So I don't know if you heard this recently, but Delta Airlines, I think it was 17,000 jobs. Don't quote me on this, but I think it was like they had 17,000 employees of Delta took the early, what do you call it? Retirement? Is that the best way to put it? Okay, I got my numbers mixed up. It was, as of yesterday, it was Southwest. Southwest signed up for 17,000 Southwest employees took voluntary leave. That really helps. Now Delta has done the same thing. Delta did it with over 2,000 pilots, and they did it with a bunch of staff members as well, flight attendants. So they had a bunch of people do that as well. So it was 14,000 pilots were eligible, 2,600 took it. I think this is a smart move. I think this is a smart move for the airlines because right now it's really going to help them out. Also, LinkedIn laid off, was it like 6% of its workforce today or recently or about to, one of those. So a few tech companies, doing some restructuring. This is all because probably of a delay in stimulus, right? So as of Monday, let's talk about stimulus. As of Monday, by the way, this was a buzzing, controversial topic on my cash flow show with my buddy, my business partner, Dave Seymour. We had a very chatty show last Friday. By the way, if you're interested in that, Dave Seymour and myself, we run a show every Friday somewhere on the social media tubes. You can check it out. If you want to learn how to invest in real estate passively or get money for your deals in real estate, you can listen to that show every Friday, typically at around 1 o'clock. But we just had this chatty conversation about how should there be another stimulus package. Some people were saying yes, some people were saying no. What do you think? Type yes or no in the comments. What do you think? Should there be another stimulus package? So here is what's happened. Monday, yesterday, the Senate's back to work. They took a few weeks off. They needed a break, I guess. They're back, and now they have to make some decisions. So yesterday they were kind of combing through all the minute things that were on the table. Some of them were big things, but now they're getting down to the nitty gritty of, is there going to be another stimulus? I think it needs to happen. I'd like to know your take on that. Do you think there needs to be a second stimulus? Yes or no? I think yes. I think yes, because there's a lot of people who are losing their jobs. There's a lot of independent contractors, 1099 contractors. There's a lot of freelancers. There's a lot of self-employed business owners, entrepreneurs that are finding themselves stuck in a pickle. And they need to, by the way, stuck in a pickle means, pickle jar means they're a little tight, right? You ever had that problem getting pickles out of a pickle jar? Yeah, it's a unique problem. There's a lot of people who are trying to figure out, penny pinching, trying to figure out what they're going to do, and stimulus check will be really helpful to a lot of people. So, as they go back into session, they are going to hopefully solve this session. Now, I've heard numbers back and forth. This is going to go back and forth about the exact numbers. I've heard another 2 trillion. I've heard 2.3 trillion, maybe 2.5. I think there needs to be enough where we can get enough funds out there for everyone to get a resurge of funds for their families, for their kids, individual stimulus. And then for those who are who've been either laid off, I think there's a lot of people still on unemployment. We were talking about the numbers last Friday, that some of these numbers, what needs to happen for some people is they need that unemployment. Unemployment's about to run out at the end of July. They're going to need those funds. So that needs to happen. That needs to happen. The unemployment needs to be refilled with funds so people can get their unemployment going on. Then there needs to be more funding for the PPP program for small businesses. The first round of funding, dried up very quickly for people. And there needs to be an additional round of funding for small businesses to continue to pay for their employees. Now, sadly, unfortunately, a lot of businesses have closed down. A lot of businesses have closed down because they didn't know or they didn't take action on the money that's been provided. It's interesting. Actually, I know some people who have gone for some of the stimulus money and they got an infusion of cash into their personal life, into their business. They took some of the grant money. Some people have taken the loans. There's about 5 different ways you can get funding, whether it's free money or forgiveness money, for yourself, your business, your family, to sustain yourself during these odd times. Because like we talked about earlier, this isn't going anywhere, especially in the United States. It's kind of interesting how rampant. I just saw, was it President Trump made an announcement about wearing a mask, and he said it's the most patriotic thing to do. By the way, did you know Kanye West Mr. West is running for president. Can you imagine seeing that on a sticker or whatever, on a board? Trump and West 2021. Could you see that? Election 2020. Trump and West. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think that's possible? Well, I definitely think it's possible, right? We've seen a lot of things that become possible recently. I find it interesting how many new things are being done that haven't been done before, right? So that would be interesting to see that ticket for sure. I'd like to see that ticket. It would just be interesting. I think after a while politics can get a little bit comical. Comical is a good word. I think it can become comical. So we'll see what happens. What matters most is your money. That's what matters most. That's why you're here. Second stimulus is coming. What we want to see is funds for everyone. Now, Pelosi on one side, I mean, initially they had brought up, I believe, a 2.5 trillion. What I would like to see, because I don't think this is going away. I've been saying this before lockdowns have been rampant. I think there was a proposal that was brought to the table about $2,000 a month for every citizen. I think that's it. I think that's a solution. Now, most people think that's crazy, and that's absurd, an absurd amount of money for a lot of people. But it would be for a period of time. Otherwise, I think we're just going to continue this process of stimulus money for the next. This is probably the second of 4 stimulus packages. That's my take. I think there's going to be 3 or 4 stimulus packages, because I think a lot of people thought COVID in the beginning was just going to be like a one-time thing, like a one-time stimulus check. Oh, we'll get over it in 2 to 3 months. Here we are in July, month 7, going into August, and we're on our second stimulus package. So I believe the first stimulus package was in April, right? I think it was in April or May. I think maybe they passed it in April or something like that. I forget the exact dates. But my take is that this is going to be stimulus deposit number 2 of 4. And this is not going away that quickly. Jobs are closing. There's going to be a big shift in the way things are being done, the way people work, right? That's huge. That's a big change for a lot of people. And like I said before, I love this. No, not that I love COVID, don't get me wrong. You know, it's I even mentioned this on Friday on the show, on the Cash Flow show, that COVID is a killer. And they need to figure out a vaccine, and that will be done at some point. But what I've liked most about this time, this lockdown time, has been the fact that people have to reinvent themselves. They have to get creative. They have to step out of their box, out of their comfort zone. Many people have now bought their first, what do you call it? What do you call those things for the video cameras? Their first webcams. I mean, how many people didn't even have a webcam? How many people never knew what Zoom was until this pandemic? Right? How many people didn't know that? Thank you, Annie. Thank you so much. Thank you for your comments. Appreciate that. Friends from Uganda. I know I got people all over from Uganda tuning in. By the way, shout out to everyone in UG. My home away from home, my second family, my first family, my in-laws. Shout out to everyone over in UG, friends. That's a whole, when you think about COVID across the world, I was actually talking about this with a buddy of mine. It's interesting enough how some people are wondering, like, you know, where are they going to get their next job? And some people are just wondering where they're going to get their next meal. I know people even, was it Afghanistan? I might have the location wrong. No, scratch Afghanistan. Lebanon. Lebanon, greatest turmoil right now they've ever seen, and something's going to happen there. COVID has had a major impact on a lot of people, and I know I'm speaking more towards what it's done. I think it's pushing the envelope for a lot of people to get more creative. They have to do things they've never done before. They have to step out of themselves. You know, maybe now's the time for political change, right? People are tired, sick and tired, and I agree with that. It's time to make some of these big changes, not just, and most of the time I'm going to speak from a technology standpoint. You'll probably hear that as my frustration. So I'm in that little camp over there. I'm in that camp where I'm the one who's maybe not so much talking about political change, but I'm the one talking about, you know, technology change. We're at a point where, you know, we should have virtual closings, notarizations, electronic mortgages done in less than 7 days, closings that are done virtually and completed in days and not 60 days, not 45 days, not 30 days, but 7 days and 5 days. Blockchain technology embedded into the transactional process. Those are the things I root for. Those are the things I talk about. Those are the things that make me uneasy. Those are the things you'll find me in the street protesting for, but there is no protest for those kinds of things. So I stay off the streets. So these are unique times. It's a time where you probably heard the word pivot more time or the same amount of times as you've heard the word COVID. It's almost like COVID and pivot are like cousins now. And that's a really important thing to observe, is that you have to reinvent yourself. Maybe you have to develop your skills. Maybe this is a good time for you to read more. You got a lot more downtime. Sure you do. Everybody has more time right now, right? It's kind of interesting. More people have more time, and a lot of people have gotten more busy. I found myself getting more busy during COVID. It's kind of interesting. I was thinking about this the other day. Just during the past few months, I've created 2 new training programs. I have started a new startup. I have in the process of buying new properties, selling more properties than probably in my record of 2018 in these few months. If I look back from did I say 2018? I meant 2019. I don't even know what year I'm in. In 2019, if I took March and June, right, and I looked at the amount of transactions that I did during that time, this time last year, I probably done more in 2020 than I did in 2019. Very interesting. It's interesting how much activity there's going on. And there's no stopping in real estate right now. Right now, the real estate market, it just keeps climbing. Closings keep happening. The market is hot for real estate. We saw a big dip in the primary market back in March. Huge dips, 50% off, 40% off on most of the biggest companies. But now we're seeing them all rally back. And some of them will take some time to come back, obviously. But the real estate market just kept increasing. Tight demand on real estate. For example, we're seeing a dip in forbearance rates. A dip in forbearance. It's falling. And that's coming from the Bankers Association. The Mortgage Bankers Association reported yesterday. Yeah. That's, so it was, hold on. At the same time, this is also something I wanted to bring up in my notes. FICO scores. Have you checked your FICO score recently? Interesting enough, FICO scores have been increasing. So I don't know if you've ever checked it out. I noticed in my FICO score, I went from, I think it was interesting because last year in 2019, I was hovering around like 790. Then it took a dip to 710. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Now, interesting enough, I only get these notifications. I'm not like a FICO credit score junkie where like I check it every month or anything like that. It just randomly pops up as either a notification or an email or something like that in one of my accounts in my banking account. And I was like, oh, I don't really pay attention to it. But I remember it dropped down to 710. And I was like, oh, what was that about? What happened? Why did it drop from like 790 or something like that down to, it was like a big drop. So I was curious. And I went to go look it up and see it was because I took on some more debt towards the end or the beginning of the new year with some more properties. So That was interesting. That was that. But then all of a sudden, it jumped up like 44 points, like literally, boop, just instant. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, which matches the news coming in from Ellie Mae. Ellie Mae, we're probably going to see an increase. We're seeing, for example, we saw an increase on FICO scores on right here. So right here, there was a decline in rates, obviously, in mortgage rates and FHA loans. However, there was an increase of 73%. 73%. Here's what Core said: from home buyers are taking advantage of historically low rates to both buy and refinance, but it does not appear that lenders are looking for borrowers with better credit across all mortgages products, as FICO scores have continued to increase across the board since March. So they're seeing, on average, FICO scores increase. They're increasing anywhere from 750 to as high as 780. So I don't know. That's really interesting. What we're seeing, though, we're seeing a lot more people buy property. We're seeing a lot more people refinance their homes. Countless people that I've talked to have refinanced their homes, saving them hundreds of dollars a month in payments and in interest. So that might be an option for you too. You might need to consider that as well. You might need to consider maybe now's a good time to refinance. One thing I'm really shocked about is how many people are not taking advantage of these current situations. For example, if you haven't gotten any stimulus money yet, or you're thinking maybe I should wait, maybe there's the money ran out, I heard in the news. No, listen, get in line. Get in line now, because you don't know what's going to happen 3 months from now, 6 months from now. And listen, I've said this before. I know there's people out there who say, I don't need the money. I don't need the money. I have money. I have all this savings. I have this and that. That's fine. Go get the money anyway. Give it to the homeless person that you see all the time. Does that make sense? Or donate to your favorite charity, whatever you need to do. You get my point? Don't sit on the sidelines when it's there. That's my take on it. Do something good with it. Do something good. Maybe there's someone in need who doesn't know about the stimulus money, who also thinks that it ran out and they're about to lose. Maybe they're on their second month of missing their mortgage payment. Maybe you can help out in some way. But the reality is that there is still funding, and they're doing it by an application basis, and you can get in line for the next round, which is coming out. I say 2.5. That's my prediction. 2.5. I hope to see that everybody can tap into this funding and get what they need to supply for their families and take care of themselves. We'll figure it out later. I know most people are wondering, how are we going to pay this all back? How are we going to, the future generation? Listen, this is something that's never happened before. Okay, in our lifetime. You and I were not there during the Spanish influenza. Okay? We weren't there. We'll figure this out. We'll get through it. But don't let that stop you from, don't let that stop you right now from either helping someone out or being able to, maybe think this is going to go away quickly. It's not. It's not going to go away quickly. So my advice to you, like I've said to many other people who have taken my advice and have gotten their stimulus money, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, is to go get your money for now and do some good with it for yourself, for your family, for someone else. Because these are interesting times. And we haven't, as a society, haven't faced, you and I have not lived through this before. I was talking to my buddy, and I'll wrap up today's session with this. I was talking to my buddy the other day, good friend of mine, over 20-something years of friendship. And he was sharing with me how his grandmother and grandfather, now I don't know all the details off the top of my head, but they lived through, I think it was World War II. Interesting enough, out of this entire story, how the enemy, okay, I don't remember who was who, but the enemy would come in, invade people's homes, take them out of their homes, put them in camps, I mean, that's something we cannot even imagine as people. Imagine happening that today, like right now. Most people watching this don't even know what that's like. Where people are actually going through that right now in Yemen, in Somalia, Afghanistan, where there's civil war, civil unrest. And you can't even imagine that, but yet you have a problem putting on a mask. Whether you think it's good for you or not, whether you think it's better if you get exposed and what do they call it, herd immunity. Maybe someone that's close to you hasn't passed away yet. Maybe it hasn't hit home for you yet. And I hope it doesn't. But listen, because this is new, then protect yourself and protect others. Care about your fellow man. Do what you can. Most importantly, wash your hands. I'm OCD when it comes to washing my hands. I wash my hands probably over 10 times a day. But do your part. Protect yourself and get in line for the next stimulus. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be updating you throughout the way about the next stimulus. It's coming. It's on its way. Get ready. If you want to know how, get over to my YouTube channel. Just go over to YouTube, type in Fearless Millionaire, and you'll see the different. I did a whole 30 days on crushing COVID, and almost in every day of those videos, I was telling people to make sure they got the stimulus check. And also, I have a video in there that shows you how to do it. If you need help, you can email us, support@fearless-millionaire.com. You can go to our website, fearlessmillionaire.com. You can go there and contact us support. We'll send you the links. We'll send you the videos, whatever you need to do. If seek and you'll find, we'll help you out. All right. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.